everybody. Shenoah Grove here. Welcome to the Real Estate Investor Association. For those of you guys who are with us live, want to tell you all welcome. For those of you guys who are online, want to say hello to you all. We're excited to be with you today to talk about real estate investing and what we've learned over the past almost 2 decades of investing in real estate. And I noticed that there's a woman here, and I noticed when you were walking in that you had this book in your hand, because we kind of passed each other in the hallway, and you were one of the first ones here. And I thought, oh, okay, I wonder what this book is. I've been thinking about this for a while, and then I had no idea what it was going to be. But you had mentioned that it was a book about business planning, right? So, and how to write a business plan. And I had asked, like, what are you going to be using this for? And you said for your real estate investing business. And my guess is that you are a left brain analytical planner, like want to kind of, write this whole thing out, have this vision and put that vision into play. Is that who you are as a person? So I will tell you that we are cut from the same cloth, very similar. In fact, I think I still have my business plan back from 2003. In a 3-ring binder with like little divider sections, and really got into that. And I will tell you that if you look at my business plan from 2003 for what I was going to do in real estate and real estate investing, it is very different from what I do today in real estate and real estate investing. And I made this binder and I made this business plan a little bit of a crutch for me in terms of getting started. So it was like I run into a lot of people who are not dissimilar positions or not dissimilar mindsets, where they want to have the perfect business that doesn't make any money. What does that mean? What does that mean to you guys? Does that hit any of you guys in any way? Does that hit my left brainers? Who are my left brainers in here besides Tracy and me? No one, really. One person. Okay, a couple of you guys. So what is your name, ma'am? Aaron. So Jarmy was like, this lady right here. Okay, so okay, good. We're all in like company, and look, you guys all sat front row left. I mean, you guys have been sitting in front row for probably your entire life. Is that roughly correct too? I mean, that's okay to say. So again, you're in good company. So what I mean by having the perfect business that doesn't make any money is a lot of times a lot of us as left brainers will get really involved in the planning of our business and let that swallow all of our activity. Because sometimes when you're a left brainer, when you're highly analytical, it's like it feels good to plan. It feels like I am at home when I plan. I feel like when I look at my plan later, I can check that, I can go to my checklist and I can check something off, and it's just like, it gives like that serotonin, dopamine, I don't know what all these different effects are that are going on, but all these neurotoxins are saying, yes, you're doing the right thing. So I will tell you that I am very similar, but at some point I kind of had to let that go in order to actually take that first step and grow to the next level. And I will tell you that I would much rather you start by doing marketing. I'd much rather you start by talking to people and being wildly uncomfortable. And the reason why I say that is because your perfect business plan is probably not going to bring one customer to your door. But talking to that one person and the magic that's going to happen and how that's actually going to inform your business plan will be a little bit mind-blowing. And just from my standpoint, particularly, and my husband, he's the same way. For me, I have an MBA from Rice University. It's like there are a lot of plans, right? My husband is computer science and electrical engineering double major. So there's like a lot, it's like whenever we talk about something, it's like, well, let's put it into a spreadsheet, and his nickname for me, and don't any of you guys try and steal this for your sweetheart, because it's been trademarked at this point, but literally my husband used to call me Spreadsheet Girl. Like some people call their girlfriends like Honey Bunny, Cutie Pie, like literally my name was Spreadsheet Girl. Bring Spreadsheet Girl in here, like go get this person, and I that is a pride point for me, and it's also a touchstone for me, and so a place where I feel very comfortable. But at the end of the day, Spreadsheet Girl doesn't, the people in accounting, are they generating all your revenue? That'd be no, right? Are the people Are the people who are actually going out and talking to customers, are they generating their revenue? And the answer is yes. And sometimes these are my right brainers. So who kind of identifies as a right brainer? Like, I'm going to go take action tonight. I don't care if I feel uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable, and I'm going to love it. Let's go. Let's roll. Like, I'm already like getting antsy sitting here for the 10 minutes that I've been sitting here. Like, when are we going to get going, right? So and I love that you guys are a team, because she's going to keep you grounded, but he's going to help you guys take off. So for me, and I'm curious, how many of you guys know your Myers-Briggs assignments? I know my left brainers do. So tell me, Tracy, what is yours? ENTJ. ENTJ. Guess what I am? I'm an ENTJ. Now, I will tell you that when I took this test, the Myers-Briggs, my husband and I took it at the same time because we met in corporate America. And he was also an ENTJ. But after about 10 years of working for ourselves, right, leaving corporate America completely, working for ourselves completely, and getting very comfortable in the things that we can do, we changed from an ENTJ to an ENT, I think it's P, right? So perceiving, right? So you do kind of turn this corner sometimes as you've been, doing something for a while as well, and as you develop as an entrepreneur. And it was funny because he and I also both took the test. I'm like, I'm curious, like, have we changed in these last 10 years of being an entrepreneur? And we took it at the same time, and we both had that last letter, character, or type change as well. And I will tell you that my husband and I, we spent about 6 months in the planning process. Now, and I'm going to say, Jeremy? Jarme, how does that make you feel so Jarme is our right brainer over here, is an action taker. How does that make you feel when I told you we spent 6 months in the planning process? Couldn't do it. It like makes you kind of makes you tense thinking about if you had to do that, right? So I will tell you, there's both good and bad. I mean, I wish that I had, more of that right brainer coming out. But for me and for my husband, we kind of had to prove the point to ourselves that, okay, can we make this work? And I will tell you, let me just skip past all that. Like, ask anybody that who is a millionaire or multimillionaire how they got to where they're at. Most of them are not going to be some unicorn tech stock, but most of them are actually going to be people who are investing in real estate. And that 6 months was 6 months of time that I could have been talking to sellers, doing something, getting out of my comfort zone. And I feel, it's like, now I'm 20 years in, so that 6 months, becomes kind of smaller and smaller over time. But when you're at the beginning, that 6 months is a lot of time that you can be out there getting a little bit more uncomfortable than you're getting today. Now, I'm guessing that you are at your sweets, it's like you're in your zone, like you're in your happy space. It is a touchstone for you, and I get it because it's a touchstone for, my husband and I as well. But at some point, once we left behind some of those left brain tendencies, which I feel like, they can kind of hold you back. And they do steady you. So in the way, probably one of the best ways that, my husband and I describe this is when you think of, being on an airplane, okay? It's like my left brainer, you're going to go study for years, right? My right brainer is like, well, I watched, Mission Impossible. Like, I'm ready for this. Like, give me let's do. I just go like this, right? And so my right brainer, the beginning of that trip is going to be like one of the bumpiest. Like, where's my vomit bag? I need to know that you're going to feel, right? And then, but my left brainers are like they're on the tarmac, and they're switching all the buttons, and they're checking all their checklists, and they're like. They're just like, are we, gonna, like, we're gonna run out of food on the plane before you're ready to take off, But what's funny is even though my right brainer is kind of like this, and my left brainer is just kind of shooting along, they both sort of hit their stride usually at about the same point, right? So my right brainers make a lot of mistakes along the way. but they get out there, they take action. And a lot of right-brainers learn, much more easily from their mistakes. A lot of my left-brainers like, no, I want to get my mistakes from the book, right? So, what I will tell you is to, kind of push my left-brainers, a little bit further is the beautiful thing about real estate and real estate investing is every contract that you will enter has what? What gives us confidence? What gives us comfort as a real estate investor? An exit clause, a termination period, an option period, right? So during this option period, you can do what? You can do what you were made and built to do, which is go and analyze the crap out of that thing. But at least now you have something that you can analyze, right? That you can even look at. So you kind of go out of this very hypothetical world, which sometimes we get, like literally like when I've done like Q&A and with my left-brainers, it's like, okay, so say that this, they just make up this hypothetical thing that is just like, I've been investing for 20 years and I've never heard of anything like that. Like let's talk about let's talk about something that actually, we're encountering right now. So if I could just push you out of the nest a little bit further, nothing's going to make you stay up all night. Nothing's going to make you do the work. Nothing's going to make you get to where you ultimately want to go, which is really out of the plans and into something like taking some of that dramatic action. So if I could just encourage you a little bit, all of my left-brainers that are in the room, to take that action. I can promise that on the other side, that while you are doing that, know that you are safe because you have that option period, right? So what that option period is, we pay for usually somewhere between $10 and $100. We pay for the opportunity to do the time to do our due diligence to make sure that we're making the right decision. So as much as I want you to go through that book that you have there with you, and as much as I want to see your beautiful, business plan and your 3-ring binder and all the folders separate all the stuff, I will tell you that our business today looks nothing like what we thought it was going to look like. And, a lot of the times with my left-brainers, I can pick them out pretty easily because they'll tell me, and I'll ask the question. You guys can help me self-identify. How many of you guys have been looking at real estate and looking at investing in real estate, considering it, wanting to do it, wanting to get more information about it for more than 3 years? Okay, for more than 5 years. Okay, for more than like 8 years. You guys are my left-brainers, right? And so I'll tell you what also happens with the left-brainers is, okay, I'm finally ready. Oh crap, interest rates are going up. Oh crap, sales are going down. Oh crap, the market's changing, right? And then what do you have to do? Oh, I got to go back and study more. I got to go back and get another degree. I got to go back and get another, insert item that will stop you from reaching your goals here, right? So I will tell you that the market that you learned in might not be the market that you initially start executing in, and will certainly not be the market that you're going to be in another 3 to 5 years, right? And right now we are in a very changing market. So I will say, for as much as you are open to it, taking advice from somebody who's been doing what I think it is that you want to do for the last 20 years, let go of the book. Just and it's all going to be okay. I can just promise all of you guys that. And then I guess, so all my advice so far has been focusing on my left-brainers. Let me also focus on my right-brainers as well, just so you guys know some of the sand traps that you guys will get yourself into. And typically what this looks like for my right-brainers is, many of my right-brainers can sell, ice to Eskimos, right? So if you're somebody like that, literally we've worked with someone like that who was one of our buyers on our team, right? So he would always bring back, he was always getting stuff under contract, but what was he always doing? All the numbers were wrong. It's like, well, there's no equity in this. I mean, congratulations for getting it under contract for 10% above the retail price, but you've got these closing skills, but let's work on the number side of it. So I will say, for the right-brainers out there, it's really wonderful to have someone who's next to you can say, like, no, these numbers don't work, because otherwise you get yourself into a little bit of trouble. A lot of times my right-brainers take off really beautifully, but may not have the ability to control their business by forecasting cash flows, right? So one of the things that you might be, learning about is how to run a pro forma and how to know when the money's coming in. And in fact, one of the lessons that we're going to go over tonight from a tribal knowledge standpoint is so as president of the Real Estate Investor Association, and as being fairly known within the community, a lot of people come to me when they have a problem. Anybody else in here is the fixer? Who else are my fixers in the room? I'm just curious. You're the fixer? A couple of you guys are the fixers. A couple of you guys are the fixers. People come to you and say, hey, can you solve my problem because I've screwed things up fairly well. And so I get to unscramble a lot of eggs, and that's literally how I describe it. And I always say, like, listen, can you come to me next time, like, before you scramble up the egg, because it's a lot easier to handle the egg without you messing it up first. So where I'll see a lot of my right brainers get in trouble is they'll get a lot of deals going, and then they get to a point where they're not managing any of them well because maybe they are a good hunter, but they are not a good skinner. You guys understand that concept? So in our house, even though both my husband and I are left brainers, I'm actually left of my husband. So he'll typically go out and hunt something and then hand it to me and tell me to skin it. And the joke in our house is he'll come to me and he'll say, Shenoah, here's a bag of crap. You go take care of it. I'm gonna go out and kill something else, right? So you have to have that person who is that skinner. You have to have that person who cleans up the messes. And a lot of times my right brainers will be wildly successful right out of the get-go and then have 5 projects going on, and each of them are 50 to 80% finished, but then they don't reach the actual finish line. And I don't know, last time I checked, but the only time that we make money is when we get things actually to the finish line. So if you are a wonderful hunter and you are not a skinner, that's okay, but you have to bring a skinner in to help to make sure that all of the wild and awesome things that you're doing actually get done. And a big part of that too is managing your cash flows, right? So I was talking to an investor recently who was like, my business was going great until about 3 months ago, and now I don't have the cash flow that I need to manage my business. Is that a problem? That would be a huge problem. That would be a huge problem. And had he managed his business a little bit better and been able to, put that into a pro forma and actually look out into the future of how he's both spending money and bringing money in, might he not be in the situation that he needs to unscramble an egg and the egg's not getting any prettier every day that goes by? So I would say that's some of the advice that I have for you guys who are my right brainers, who are going out there taking immediate action. And then, I will say too, like, it's always good to have someone look over your deal, someone who's maybe more senior than you, to be able to give you some advice and what I call tribal knowledge, to make sure that you don't make any rookie mistakes, right? Because in real estate, and you see it all the time, is it easy to make money in real estate? Some people say yes, some people are saying no. And guess what? The answer is yes and no, right? I mean, some deals are slam dunk deals. Some deals need a little more knowledge, right? A little more, again, a little more tribal knowledge to know, not just, and my right brainers, a lot of times when they go into a deal, they're looking at, okay, well, what is this, what is the outcome of this deal? And for me, my business coach taught me a long time ago, whenever you're looking at a deal, you look at best case, worst case, most likely case. For a lot of my right brainers, and especially the new investor right brainers, what case scenario are they looking at? They're usually looking at the best case. And they're looking at the best case on steroids, right? Like, this is what happens if, and a lot of my new investors have this mindset, which is both beautiful and also like scares the crap out of me. Like, when your young child is about to do something, you're like, that's really amazing, please don't die. It's really, one of those moments, right? It's like they're taking their first step, but like, please don't, hit your head on the coffee table, right? So usually my right brainers, and this is a first time investor syndrome, where again, it is not just best case, it's best case scenario on steroids, where this investor is thinking, I'm going to get the highest ARV after repair value, the retail, resale price that's ever existed in this entire neighborhood, right? Because I'm brand new at this, okay? And after that, I'm going to finish my renovation project twice as quick as anyone ever thought, because number one, a contractor's never going to do you wrong. Number two, there's never going to be any surprises on your property, right? And number three, there aren't any supply chain, disruptions or labor shortages or anything like that. So I'm going to also sell my house faster than anyone who's ever sold their house in this area has ever done it. And I mean, literally, I've listened to some people who would tell me, like, I'm going to do this $50,000 remodel and I'm going to buy and sell this property in 2 months, so I'm not even going to have to make my first payment to my lender. It's like, have you lost your mind? Like, a $50,000 project is going to take you at least 10 weeks. Oh, no, my contractor says it can be done so much faster, right? And then it's like, it's going to take you maybe 30 days to get under contract, and then after that, it's going to take you another 30 to 45 days to actually get to the closing line, to actually sell it. Because one of the things that trips a lot of new investors up is they are looking at days on market. So days on market represents how long the property is active on the market before it goes pending on the market. It stops counting after it goes pending, assuming that it closes after that. But it doesn't count the amount of time that it's in pending to close status, which is typically 30 to 45 days, depending on the type of financing that the buyer uses. So please, if you are brand new, the last time that I want you to think that everything's going to come out sunshine and rainbows is on that first deal, because it's usually the first deal that punches every investor in the mouth, right? And gives you those surprises that you were not encountering. Instead, take it from my left brain friends and be a little bit more like, okay, well, what happens? Let's look at the sensitivity analysis. Let's break out the spreadsheet on this. Let's see what this looks like. It's okay to have both, especially in the market that we are in right now, because what are we seeing in this market right now? Uncertainty. Uncertainty. What else? What is uncertainty? I'm pretty certain about a couple of things. I'm pretty certain about what Fed Chairman Powell's going to do in the next couple of weeks. So you guys? So interest rates are going to be going up. That's not a surprise to anybody. And this has been such an interesting chairman of the Federal Reserve, because he doesn't want to surprise. Like prior Fed chairmans have kind of been like, okay, yeah, we're going to be doing something. We're going to be moving interest rates, but none of them have said to the level of detail what they are going to do besides this guy. So the markets has been reacting, stock market specifically has been reacting in advance. The real estate market reacts usually 30 to 45 days later, because if you have something that you put on the market today, you're getting locked in at the interest rate today. So even if the Fed is raising interest rates at some point in the future, you're still locked in. But there is uncertainty about what's going to happen next. Now, there's no uncertainty about what the Fed chairman's going to do the next period, whether it's a half point increase versus a 0.75 point increase. But what is that resulting in the market for us all? What's happening in the market right now?
Less sales.
Fewer sales. Fewer sales. What's happening with prices right now?
Dropping.
Who thinks prices are dropping right now? Raise your hands. Who thinks prices are going up right now? Raise your hands. Okay. Prices are going up right now. Remember, there's a lag, right? There's a lag. But the number of sales are certainly going down in some markets as little as 10 to 15%. And some markets in Texas, they're going down by up to 29%. This is a big deal, right? This is a big deal. So you guys need to be aware of it, and you also need to be certain about how to make money and how to invest in these uncertain times, which is what I would say we're going into right now. And it was funny because I was talking to another investor today, and we were talking about what's going on in the market. And this is an investor who's also a realtor. So I'm also a realtor and broker in the great state of Texas, license number 0518223. Got it? Great. Wonderful. Disclosed. Don't sue me. Fantastic. Let's go. So she's been in the market for over 17 years, and she's like, what do you think is happening in this market right now? And obviously, she and I both were aware, because we studied the market stats, that the values are going down, And she asked, what do you think kind of the buyer sentiment is right now? And I describe the buyer sentiment like, and does anybody in here have like children that are like under like 7, 8? Okay. So think about a time when they're on the playground, they've got their toys out, they're having a good time, everybody's playing, and then something happens, right? Some kid raises interest rates 0.75%. Okay? Think about that. Think about the kid version of that, whatever that is, right? And then what does that other kid do who has all their balls out and their toys out? What do they do? What do they do? They throw a tantrum. What does that tantrum look like? They pick up their balls and they say, I'm going home. Right? Is that what we do sometimes when we get upset and we get annoyed when some kid raises the interest rates, right? That's what's happened with buyers. Buyers have now said, I'm picking up my toy. In this case, the toy is their what? Their down payment. I'm picking up my down payment, which is their ball, their toy, and they're going to do, what are they doing with those toys right now? What's happening in the rental market? The rental market, like, the love letters that buyers were writing to sellers over like the last 3 years or so? Now the tenants are now writing those same love letters to landlords. A heretofore unheard of event in history, right? Literally, like I've literally read stories where people are giving away their dogs. Think about it. To be seen as a more qualified tenant, right? That's how the market's changing. So people are picking up their balls, their down payments, right? Their desire to buy houses, and they're moving into the rental market. So this is where being diversified as a real estate investor comes in handy. This is where having, yes, you're doing your fix and flips, yes, you're doing your wholesales, but you also have your buy and hold. So you're able to mitigate any changes.
Would you like to be a real estate investor in Texas? Come to one of our free local meetings to get access to free training, wholesale properties, capital, and power teams. Click on the link.
All right, so let me get back to the regular presentation here. And I'm going to show some of the slides. I saw many of you guys taking pictures of those, so I'll pop those back up on the screen as well. So Texas REIA is your local source for deals, knowledge, funding, advice, partnering, and coaching. We want to help you guys be successful as real estate investors, no matter if buyers are picking up their toys, their down payments, and walking away with them or not. I will ask you guys, again, think of that 7-year-old. Think about that kid, right? So he's picked up his toys. He's walked away. What brings that kid back into the game? What's going to bring that buyer back into the market? What do you think that answer is? Someone says lower interest rates. Come on. Someone says lower prices. What else? Perception. This is all psychology. So I can see some of you guys have gray hair or no hair in here, which means that you may have been around in the 1980s, maybe buying and selling properties, okay? So in the 1980s, when interest rates were going from 15% to 18%, literally the quotes sounded like this. Honey, we got to get in there and get a house today before what? Before the rates go up. That's what's going to bring that kid back into the game. That takes time. That takes a meltdown, right? For that kid to be annoyed, angry, upset, crying. Are these some of the things that our buyers are doing right now? Yes, right? Until they say, oh crap, wow, housing prices are still going up, which they are. Oh man, It's the first time that buyers can actually get a home without having to do what? Go into a multiple offer scenario, right? So whatever they're extra paying now in terms of their monthly mortgage, they're saving in terms of not having to go into a bidding war that might bid up the price another $50,000 or more, right? And when they start to see that, and this is a process, just like it is with a child, because there's this psychology that's going on inside of us. So I think it's going to be a little while before we start to see that change. Right now, we're going to continue to see those volumes down, probably somewhere between 10 to 20%, depending on what market we're in. Some of the quarantine and COVID supermarkets where everyone was moving, those are the ones that are starting to cool first. Has Texas been one of those markets? Yes, right? Yes, it has. So are we going to see some cooling here? And the answer is yes. But are we going to figure it out? Is anybody in here thinking it's over? I'm not even going to open my book now, right? Is anybody in here thinking it's over? Guys, let me tell you, when I first started investing was in 2003, so it was coming out of the dot-com bust. It was not a fun time to cut your teeth as a real estate investor. So I learned how to cut my teeth in 03. I cut my teeth in 03, and I got a new cut of my new teeth in 2008, 9, 10, 11, when the market went down and when the market was flat for years. Guess what? You can still make a lot of money as a real estate investor in those markets. So I don't want any of you guys to be worried that it's over because the market's changing because there's uncertainty. Now, will you change your strategies? The answer is yes, 100%, absolutely, right? And I love talking about those different strategies. Probably one of my favorite ones is what I call financing for the win. So how many of you guys, I'm curious, invested in 2006, 2007, 2008? Any of you guys in here? Any of you guys? Okay. So 2006, 2007, 2008, flipping houses, it almost felt like in 2008, 2009, it almost felt like you were playing musical chairs. Except instead of removing one chair, one buyer will say, they were moving 10% of the chairs and then 20% of the chairs. We saw a reduction in the overall number of sales by 30%. Okay, lots of chairs were removed. So when you're investing in those times, you need to be, and this is a concept I want you guys to really understand, financing for the win. So the ones that were able to survive that part of the market cycle were the ones that were able to hold on to assets while those assets were going back up in value. So what that looks like is financing for the win. What that looks like is financing to make sure that you have choices, to make sure that you have options. Because options and choices will get you through the hard times as a real estate investor when you're buying, fixing, and flipping. But if you have a loan that's about to expire in 6 months, that has a foreclosure deadline, those options, they go away very quickly, especially when you are in a changing market and when you're seeing prices go down. So I do want you guys to be aware of that. You'll also want to change your buyer's list. So if your buyer's list right now is other fix and flip investors, well, if the fix and flip investors are starting to pull back or starting to decrease the amount that they're willing to pay you, right? Which if they're smart, that's something that they are doing. Who do you want to replace them with? Buy and hold investors. Why do we love our buy and hold investors? Because they will always pay more than a fix and flip investor. You want to be wholesaling to them anyway, right? And if you find someone who's savvy enough to understand that there is opportunity right here, right now, in the market that we're in, that's a buyer that you're going to be selling to all day long. And do you think there are a couple people who have been holding their cash on the sideline for a little while waiting for a next opportunity? The answer is yes. So finding those folks are going to be instrumental in you getting through this period of uncertainty. So that's how I want you guys to be thinking about the market as we go through. And as we conclude this part of the presentation, I'll let you guys all know what to expect. So We're about to do a market update and a tip of the week presentation, and then after that we're going to do our keynote presentation to share with you guys how to survive and thrive no matter what the market throws at you. And right now the market is throwing a couple of punches, and if you don't know how to dodge and move because you haven't been in the ring for a while or have never been in the ring, you're going to want to hear every part of this presentation. So for those of you guys who are watching online, just want to thank all of you guys who are watching online. Join our next segment and catch us live at texasreas.com/live. See you in a bit.